Right now, you might feel like you are at your breaking point. The weight of the world presses down on your shoulders. You wake up tired and overwhelmed. You think, how much longer can I keep this up? This is a dark place, but it's also a powerful moment of truth. What if I told you that this crisis could be the turning point you've been waiting for? The Stoics understood that our greatest challenges can reveal our true strength. They faced wars, betrayals, and losses, yet they stood tall. You have that same strength within you, waiting to be unleashed. In this section, we will explore the emotional crisis that many men face and the Stoic principles that can pull you back from the ledge. I want you to pause right now and comment, "I rise above my pain," below. Write it. Own it. Let every like on your comment remind you of this promise to yourself. This moment of crisis can either break you or become the foundation for your rebirth. Get ready to take the first step toward understanding how to transform your emotional turmoil into power. Because the journey from crisis to strength is about to begin. Rule 1. The Shield of Indifference. Now here is where most people completely fall apart. The noise of life, the chaos of emotions, can drown you. It can make you feel lost, fragile, and defeated. But here lies the first and most crucial lesson. You must don the Shield of Indifference. This is not a shield that makes you immune to pain. Instead, it grants you the strength to face it without being crushed. Imagine Epictetus, a former slave turned Stoic philosopher. He taught that external events are outside our control. We can only control our reactions. Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This is the essence of the Shield of Indifference. You see, your emotions are like waves. They rise and crash, but they do not define you. What defines you is your response to these waves. When sorrow hits, when challenges strike, the Shield of Indifference lets you step back. It reminds you that these feelings are temporary. They do not dictate your worth or your actions. Now pay attention. This is the real lesson. You must actively choose to remain indifferent to the happenings that lie beyond your control. You decide what affects you. You decide what you will allow to penetrate your mental fortress. Take a moment to reflect. When was the last time you let a negative situation dictate your feelings? Maybe it was an argument with a loved one, a setback at work, or the never-ending pressure of expectations. Instead of allowing these stressors to take hold, practice this. Each evening, write down 3 things that happened during the day that you let affect your emotions. Then ask yourself, were these things truly worth my energy? Shift your focus. With each entry, note how you can respond differently next time. This is how you begin to forge your Shield of Indifference. This practice isn't just about feeling better. It's about building strength. Your emotional resilience will grow as you learn to view challenges as mere obstacles rather than personal failures. But knowing this alone is not enough, because there is something even more dangerous. It is the belief that you must feel every emotion intensely. The truth is, you do not have to. You can confront pain head-on and refuse to be its victim. If this is hitting different right now, do one thing for me. Hit that subscribe button. Not for me. For the version of you that needs this reminder next week. Every time you feel overwhelmed, remember the Shield of Indifference. Embrace it. Use it. Turn your pain into power. The journey is just beginning. Rule 2. The Warrior's Detachment. Now here is where most people completely fall apart. They think that every emotion needs to be felt in full. They believe that vulnerability means being swept away by sadness, anger, or fear. This is a trap. Detachment is not about ignoring your feelings. It is about not letting them control you. In Stoicism, this is known as the warrior's detachment. It is the strength to witness your emotions without being swept into the storm. Marcus Aurelius, the great Roman emperor, said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This means you are in charge of how you respond. You can feel the pain, but you do not have to let it define who you are. Picture this. A soldier stands on the battlefield. Bombs are exploding, chaos surrounds him, yet he remains calm. He understands that panic will only lead to mistakes. This soldier is detached from the turmoil. He observes his thoughts and emotions, but does not act on them. This is what the warrior's detachment looks like in everyday life. It is not about shutting down. It is about standing firm amidst the noise. When setbacks occur, or when people betray you, instead of reacting with anger or despair, you can take a step back. Assess the situation. Recognize what is within your control and what is not. This detachment will give you the power to respond thoughtfully rather than react emotionally. So what can you do? Here is your action step. Every morning, take 10 minutes to meditate. Close your eyes. Focus on your breath. As thoughts and emotions arise, acknowledge them. Let them come and go without judgment. Notice how your body feels. Is there tension? Are your fists clenched? Relax and let those feelings pass. This practice builds your ability to detach. It helps you understand that emotions are temporary. They are clouds in the sky. They come and go. And most importantly, this detachment allows you to face life's challenges without losing your power. But here is the part nobody talks about. What happens when you start to detach? You may feel alone at first. It can seem isolating to not engage deeply with your emotions. You may think, am I losing my humanity? No, you are gaining control. You are becoming strong. If you want to live with resilience, embrace the warrior's detachment. Remember, you have the power to choose how you react. Use this detachment to fortify yourself. You will find clarity in the chaos. You will build a life that stands firm against the storms, rather than one that collapses under the weight of emotion. Now that you understand this, let me show you the weapon that makes it stick. Rule 3, the reality check protocol. Now here is where most people completely fall apart. They think they've got a handle on their emotions. They believe they've mastered their reactions. But when the storm hits, they crumble. This is where the reality check protocol comes in. You need to test your understanding and your strength. It's time to face the truth of your situation. Think of a time when you felt overwhelmed. Maybe you lost a job, ended a relationship, or faced a huge setback. In the heat of that moment, what did you feel? Panic, anger, fear. But here's the thing. What did those emotions change? Did they fix your situation? Did they make it better? No. All they did was cloud your judgment and keep you stuck in that moment. Marcus Aurelius said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." This means you have the power to reframe your feelings. Instead of spiraling downwards, you can confront the facts. Let's turn those feelings into a practice. It's time for the reality check protocol. You need to ask yourself 3 key questions when facing adversity. First, what is actually happening? This is not the time for emotional stories or exaggerations. Strip everything away to the bare facts. Second, what can I control in this situation? Identify the aspects you can change. It might be your response, your attitude, or your next steps. And lastly, what will I do next? Make a concrete plan. This is your action step. You take charge. Here's how to start. Take a moment each evening before you sleep. Reflect on your day. Write down one challenge you faced. Then answer those 3 questions. What happened? What can I control? What will I do? This exercise will sharpen your ability to assess reality without the weight of emotions dragging you down. But here is the part nobody talks about. Most people avoid this uncomfortable reality. They'll spin stories in their heads instead. They'll blame others or circumstances. Don't fall into that trap. You have to confront the pain. The act of doing this consistently will fortify your mind. You'll become stronger. When trouble strikes, you'll respond with clarity, not chaos. And this is where it gets dangerous. If you ignore this protocol, you risk losing the freedom that comes from understanding yourself. So take action. Every night, hold yourself accountable. This is your shield against the storms life throws at you. You'll find strength you didn't know you had. Now that you understand this, let's move on. The next step is not just about facing yourself. It's about building a routine that reinforces this reality check daily. Rule 4. The acceptance weapon. Now here is where most people completely fall apart. They think acceptance is weakness. They think it's giving up. But that's where they get it wrong. Acceptance is a weapon. It's not about surrendering to life's punches. It's about standing tall amid the chaos and saying, I see you, and I will not be broken. Marcus Aurelius wrote, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. This means that whatever happens outside, the loss, the betrayal, the failures, these things do not define you. What defines you is how you react. Think of the story of Epictetus, a former slave who became one of the most influential Stoic philosophers. Epictetus faced incredible hardship and pain. He was sold into slavery, but he never let that define him. Instead, he said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. In the face of suffering, he forged his character. Acceptance does not mean you agree with what happened. It means you stop fighting reality. You face the truth, no matter how painful. You take stock of your emotions, acknowledge the hurt, and then you move forward. Here's the action plan. You must build a habit of acceptance. Start each day with a simple exercise. When you wake up, ask yourself, what can I accept today? It can be the stressful meeting at work, the difficult conversation with a friend, or the setbacks you face in your goals. Accept it. Write it down. Next, remember that acceptance does not mean you become passive. It means you empower yourself. You recognize what is out of your control and focus on what you can change. You take action from a position of strength, not weakness. But here is the part nobody talks about. The moment you accept reality, you gain freedom. And that freedom is powerful. It allows you to make choices based on truth, not fear. Now you might be thinking, but what if I can't accept certain things? Ask yourself this. Is holding on to that hurt worth more than your peace? This next part changed everything for me. When I learned to accept, I found strength I didn't know I had. I learned to adapt and respond, not just react. So tonight, before you sleep, take that moment. Reflect on what you can accept. Write it down. And when you do, own it. In the comments below, I want you to write, I will accept what I cannot change. Let that be a reminder. Now that you understand this, there is something even more dangerous lurking behind ignorance of acceptance. It can turn into anger, resentment, or despair. Don't let those emotions take hold. They are the true enemies of clarity and progress. Rule 5. The internal fortress. Now here is where most people completely fall apart. The fortress you build within yourself is crucial. It protects you from those storms that life throws your way. If you don't strengthen that inner fortress, you become vulnerable. You risk losing your peace to every setback, every criticism, and every disappointment. Imagine the great Stoic philosopher Epictetus, who spent his life teaching the importance of inner strength. He was born a slave, yet he became one of the most respected philosophers of his time. He understood that the true power lies not in external circumstances, but within. He taught, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. This means that life will challenge you. You will encounter failures, setbacks, and betrayals. But how you respond to these events defines your character. If you do not fortify your internal world, those challenges will breach your defenses. They will flood your mind with doubt and despair. The lesson here is straightforward. You must actively work on building your internal fortress. This is where you cultivate resilience. When you face adversity, remember that your thoughts and reactions are what shape your experience. Do not let the world dictate your emotional state. Take action. Start by creating mental barriers. When negativity seeps in, remind yourself, I am in control of my thoughts. Challenge unproductive thoughts. Stand guard at the gates of your mind. Here is a specific action for you. Every morning, take a moment to visualize your internal fortress. Picture it as a strong castle with walls that keep out the noise and chaos of the outside world. Imagine it being impenetrable. Visualize how you will respond to the challenges you expect to face that day. Will you allow anger to creep in? Will you let fear shake your resolve? Or will you stand firm, knowing that your strength comes from within? Now write it down. Write down how you will protect your internal fortress today. Will you practice patience when faced with impatience? Will you remind yourself that criticism doesn't define you? And here's the thing that matters. Most people stop here. Do not be most people. You have the power to strengthen your internal defenses daily. This isn't just an exercise. It's a systematic way to fortify your life. But knowing this alone is not enough. Because there is something even more dangerous than external challenges. It's the voice inside you that doubts your strength, that whispers you are not enough. Don't let that voice tear down your fortress. Stand tall and remind yourself of the strength you are building. Now, as you go about your day, remember to protect that inner space. Be aware of what enters your mind. Strengthen your fortress, and do not let the world outside dictate your peace. Rule 6. The choice of response. Now here is where most people completely fall apart. It's easy to visualize your fortress of strength. But what happens when life throws chaos at you? How do you respond? This is where the choice of response becomes critical. You have a decision to make in every moment. Will you lash out in anger? Will you retreat into fear? Or will you choose a path of calm, understanding, and resilience? Consider Marcus Aurelius. He faced tremendous challenges as a Roman emperor. Wars, plagues, and betrayals surrounded him. Yet he consistently reminded himself, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. What does this mean? It means that no matter the external storm, your inner peace is determined by how you react. Imagine a modern situation. You're at work and receive harsh criticism from a manager. You can feel the anger bubbling up inside you. You want to respond explosively. But here's the lesson. Your initial emotional reaction is not your final response. You can pause, breathe, and choose how to respond. You can see the criticism as a chance to learn rather than a personal attack. That's the power of choice. When you take a moment to assess your thoughts, you can guide your actions with clarity. So what should you do? Here's your actionable takeaway. Tonight, before you sleep, write down 3 situations that may challenge you tomorrow. Think of how you might react. Will you respond with patience, or will you let frustration take over? Then, beside each situation, write the response you choose. Commit to it. This is your plan. This is how you seize control of your emotional landscape. If this is hitting different right now, do one thing for me. Hit that subscribe button. Not for me. Do it for yourself. You need this reminder next week and beyond. Now, after you've crafted your plan, remember this. Your response shapes not only your day, but your future. When you choose wisely, you build strength. This next part changed everything for me. Think of the moments where you felt powerless. They all shared a common thread. You let circumstances dictate your emotions. But you have the power to change that narrative. When you feel the heat of frustration or fear, pause. Breathe. Tell yourself, I choose my response. Your fortress will grow stronger with each deliberate choice. You will not be defined by the chaos outside, but by the strength you cultivate inside. Now, you understand this power. But knowing this alone is not enough. Because there is something even more dangerous. Rule 7. The control matrix. Now here is where most people completely fall apart. They believe they have no control. They feel trapped in a relentless cycle of external pressures. They let life's chaos dictate their mood, their choices, their very existence. This is the control matrix. You walk into a room and the energy shifts. Someone's negativity floods the space. You absorb it, and suddenly you're irritated without knowing why. Or you scroll through your phone, and envy grips you when you see others living their best lives. But here is the truth. You control your reactions. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. What does this mean? It means that no matter what happens around you, your thoughts and responses are yours to own. When you let the outside world dictate your emotions, you're essentially handing over the keys to your mental fortress. You become like a leaf in the wind, tossed about by every gust of negativity. The control matrix thrives on this. It feeds on your insecurities and discontent. It wants you to feel powerless and overwhelmed. That's not living. That's surviving. Think of Epictetus, a Stoic philosopher who once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This is your choice point. When you wake up tomorrow, the world is going to throw challenges at you. Some will be small, like an annoying email. Others will be big, like a confrontation with a loved one. What will you do? Will you let them pull you into chaos? Or will you stand firm, rooted in your power? Tonight, before you sleep, write this down. What external events threaten to pull you under? List them out. Then beside each, write what you choose to feel in response. This is not just an exercise. It's your declaration of independence from the control matrix. You decide how you will react. No one else. Now, this next part will make you uncomfortable. Good. You need that discomfort to grow. You must recognize the difference between feelings and reactions. Feelings are valid. They arise naturally in response to events. But reactions are choices. You can feel fear, but you do not have to react with panic. The moment you take a breath and choose your response, you gain power. Make this a habit. When something triggers you, pause and say, "I choose my response." This mantra will pull you back into your center. It is a shield against the chaos of the control matrix. Now you are aware. You know the game. But knowing this alone is not enough. Because there is something even more dangerous lurking in the shadows. Rule 8. The power of negative visualization. Now here is where most people completely fall apart. They live their lives in a bubble of comfort, avoiding all thoughts of loss or failure. But that bubble can burst at any moment. What happens when it does? You need to be prepared for the worst. This is the power of negative visualization. This Stoic practice does not mean you live in fear or pessimism. Instead, it sharpens your perception of reality. Imagine losing your job. The income you depend on disappears. How would you feel? What would you do? Now, think about how your life would change if that did happen. This technique is not about wallowing in despair. It is about taking a moment to visualize the worst-case scenario. When you do this, you realize that while the situation may be painful, you are more resilient than you think. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." He understood that life can throw chaos your way, but by acknowledging potential hardships, you prepare your mind for resilience. When you visualize loss ahead of time, you create a mental buffer. You give yourself the tools to handle what life throws at you. Instead of being blindsided by fear, you embrace it. You train yourself to stay calm amid a storm. You may find comfort in the fact that your worst fears are rarely as terrible as you imagine. Now pay attention. Here is the real lesson. Every night, before you sleep, take 10 minutes for this exercise. Sit in silence and think of something you fear losing. It could be a job, a relationship, or even your health. Visualize it in detail. Picture how you would feel in that moment. Allow yourself to feel the weight of that fear. Then, shift your focus. Consider how you would respond. What steps could you take to recover? Write down your thoughts. Capture the potential challenges and your possible responses. This is not a way to invite negativity into your life. It is a way to build strength and reduce anxiety. Most people stop here. Do not be most people. Embrace this discomfort. Use it to prepare for life's uncertainties. By practicing negative visualization, you become stronger, more grounded, and more capable of facing whatever life has in store for you. Now, armed with this knowledge, you prepare for the inevitable storms. But knowing this alone is not enough, because there is something even more dangerous lurking in the shadows. Rule 9. The Impermanence Shield Hourglass Not Done. Now here is where most people completely fall apart. They let the fear of loss consume them. But you have the chance to build something powerful. You can create your impermanence shield. This concept is simple yet profound. Life is full of changes. Nothing lasts forever. The good times, the bad times, they all end. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, loss is nothing else but change, and change is nature's delight. What does that mean? It means loss is a part of life. It's not about preventing loss. It's about preparing for it. Think of the story of Cato the Younger. Cato faced intense struggles and loss throughout his life. He lost loved ones, lived through political chaos, and faced personal defeat. Yet, he remained steadfast. Cato understood the nature of impermanence. He welcomed it as an essential part of existence. He built his shield with resilience. From his mindset, we can learn to embrace our fleeting moments. Instead of clinging tightly to what we have, we acknowledge their impermanence. You must acknowledge that everything you care about can be swept away. This realization brings strength. It helps you appreciate what you have while accepting that nothing is guaranteed. So, here's your action step. Tonight, before you go to bed, think about something precious to you. Visualize it clearly. Imagine how you would feel if it were gone. Then, write down ways you could cope with that loss. What support systems do you have? What actions could you take? This is an exercise in liberation. You confront your fears head-on. You prepare yourself mentally and emotionally, making the potential loss less daunting. But here is the part nobody talks about. Many people will never take this step. They will live in fear, paralyzed by the unknown. You are not them. You are building your impermanence shield. The more you practice this exercise, the more resilient you become. You strengthen your mind against the inevitable changes of life. As you do this, remember, it's not just about preparing for loss. It's about living fully in the present. It's about appreciating your journey. When you recognize that everything is temporary, you learn to find joy in the moment. Now that you understand this, let me show you the weapon that makes it stick. Rule 10, the gratitude game. Now here is where most people completely fall apart. They believe gratitude is just a nice thought, something to consider when times are good. But gratitude is a weapon. It builds strength in your character. It makes you immune to the storms of life. You see, it's easy to express gratitude when the sun is shining. But true courage lies in recognizing the good when everything feels heavy. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, when you arise in the morning, think of the hour you owe to the improvement of your soul. What does that mean? It's about waking up every day and choosing to see the positives. It's a call to action. Gratitude shouldn't be an afterthought. It should be a daily practice, a game you play with yourself. When you start counting your blessings, no matter how small, you change your perspective. You start seeing the light amidst the fog. Think of a soldier facing battle. Each day, he might see chaos around him. Yet, he finds strength in the camaraderie of his brothers. He cherishes the moments shared, the laughter amidst the turmoil. The same is true for you. When life feels overwhelming, focus on what still stands strong. So here's your action step. Every night, before you sleep, take out a piece of paper. Write down 3 things you are grateful for. They can be big or small. It doesn't matter. The point is to train your mind to see the good. Do this for a week. Watch how your mood shifts. Feel how your perspective transforms. But here's the part that gets dangerous. Most people will stop this practice after a few days. They will think it's not making a difference. But it is. It builds resilience. Gratitude is not a fleeting emotion. It's a muscle. The more you exercise it, the stronger it becomes. And when your gratitude muscles are strong, life's challenges will feel less heavy. You will face losses, disappointments, and setbacks with a fortified spirit. You will still feel pain, but your gratitude will remind you of hope. It will remind you that even in darkness, there is light. Now pay attention. This is the real lesson. You must make gratitude a game, a daily habit. When you immerse yourself in this practice, you shift from a mindset of lack to one of abundance. Every moment becomes a treasure. Every interaction, a gift. You start to appreciate the journey, not just the destination. But knowing this alone is not enough, because there is something even more dangerous lurking in your mind. Rule 11. The emotional alchemy. Now here is where most people completely fall apart. They fall into the trap of their emotions. They let their feelings dictate their actions. This is where the alchemy comes in. Emotional alchemy is the process of transforming negative feelings into something powerful. It's about turning pain into strength and sorrow into resolve. This is not just a nice idea. This is a necessity for anyone who wants to thrive. Consider the story of Marcus Aurelius. He faced immense pressure as the Roman emperor. He lost loved ones, battled treachery from those he trusted, and fought wars that threatened his empire. Yet, he wrote in his personal journal, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." What does this mean? It means that obstacles can become our greatest teachers. Every setback, every negative emotion is an opportunity to grow. When you feel fear, use it to fuel your courage. When you face anger, channel it into determination. This is what emotional alchemy looks like in practice. When you feel overwhelmed, do not bury your emotions. Acknowledge them. Sit with them. Ask yourself, how can I turn this into something stronger? This is where the action comes in. Every time you feel hit by a negative emotion, pause. Take a deep breath. Then, write down what you're feeling. Identify the emotion and its source. Then, right next to it, write down how you can turn that feeling into action. For example, if you feel sadness about a loss, make a plan to honor that loss. Perhaps you can create a memory book or plant a tree. If you feel frustration at work, use that energy to tackle a project you've been avoiding. Stop. Think about that. This is how you reclaim your power. You are not just a victim of your emotions. You are the alchemist who can transform them into something valuable. And remember, this is not a one-time exercise. It is a continuous process. You will face new challenges. You will feel new emotions. But each time, you have the tools to change your perspective. Now, here is the part that can change everything. Make it a habit to practice this emotional alchemy every day. Set a time each evening to reflect. Use the same paper where you wrote your gratitude. Next to your 3 gratitudes, add your emotional alchemy reflections. What did you feel? How did you transform that feeling? This daily practice will build a fortress of resilience in your mind. But knowing this alone is not enough. There is something even more dangerous that can hold you back. This is just the beginning. Rule 12. The legacy of Stoicism. Now pay attention. This is where the legacy of Stoicism takes center stage. The power of Stoicism lies not just in personal transformation. It's about what you leave behind. The choices you make today echo in the lives of those who follow you. Marcus Aurelius faced the weight of an empire on his shoulders. He wrote in his journal, "What we do now echoes in eternity." He understood that his actions shaped not only his life, but also the future. He made choices based on virtue, discipline, and resilience, knowing they would carve a path for generations to come. Imagine a man standing on the edge of a battlefield. He knows the risks. The enemy is fierce. But instead of succumbing to fear, he draws strength from within. He fights with honor, knowing that his bravery will inspire his men. That's the essence of the Stoic legacy. Your journey does not exist in isolation. Every struggle you face, every victory you achieve, becomes a part of a larger narrative. You have the power to influence those around you. When you choose to respond to challenges with strength, you set a precedent. Others will see that. They will learn from your resilience. They will find courage in your actions. Now, here is the lesson you must grasp. Your legacy is not just what you achieve. It's how you live each day. Seneca once said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." This means your worth is not measured by what you have, but by the impact you make on others. This is about living in accordance with your values. Not just for yourself, but for the world. You have a duty to be the best version of yourself. This is how you honor your legacy. Here's your action. Take time to reflect on your impact every week. Ask yourself, what kind of legacy am I building? Write down your reflections. Consider how your choices today will affect your loved ones tomorrow. Make a commitment to live with integrity. Do this consistently. Hold yourself accountable. And now, here's the essential part. Your legacy does not end with you. As you build a life of strength and virtue, others will follow. They will learn from your experiences. Your story will provide them with lessons. This is the essence of Stoicism. You are not just surviving in this world. You are shaping it. You are leaving a mark that counts. But knowing this alone is not enough, because there is something even more dangerous that can hold you back. It is the mindset that leads to complacency. Do not let that be your fate. The final word. Rising strong, your path forward. Right now, you are standing at a crossroads. You can choose to rise strong or remain stagnant in the shadows of your past. Every moment you hesitate, you lose the opportunity to build a legacy of strength. Remember, Marcus Aurelius said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." This means your mindset is everything. If you allow fear and doubt to dominate your mind, you will never ascend to your full potential. The path forward is not just about enduring life's battles. It's about fighting back with purpose, with integrity. You have the power to shape your future. Here's your challenge. Look at your life and ask yourself, what am I willing to fight for? Define that. Let it fuel you. Become the warrior of your own story. Embrace the discomfort. Lean into it. This is how you transform pain into strength. When you rise strong, you become a beacon for others. Your journey becomes their inspiration. Most people stop here. Do not be most people. Push forward with the knowledge that your struggles are not in vain. Each setback is a lesson, a stepping stone to greatness. As you embrace this mindset, remember that you are not alone. Find your tribe. Surround yourself with those who uplift you. Seek those who challenge you to be better. Epictetus reminds us, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Your reaction matters. Choose wisely. Your action step. Daily, journal your reactions to challenges you face. Write down your thoughts. Reflect on how you can respond differently next time. This practice strengthens your mind. It strengthens your resolve. Let every challenge be an opportunity to grow. You are more than your circumstances. You are the architect of your destiny. Now, as you step into this next chapter, remember that rising strong is a continuous journey. It requires commitment. It demands courage. So rise. Fight. Live with intention. When the world tests you, respond with grace and strength. This is your moment. Seize it. Subscribe. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. And I will see you in the next one.